Hey YouTube, welcome back for more Reddit stories. Today we have several stories from the r/TalesFromRetail subreddit. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and share, that will help to support my channel. Without further ado, here we go. I once had to give a customer some really bad news. Then the FBI showed up. So yeah, years back I was working as a wholesale manager for a large national auto parts chain. Large retail stores with a full-service repair facility. When the service manager needed to leave, the technicians would come to me instead. This was one of those days that ended like no other. I remember it was a hot day, well over 100 Fahrenheit, a little after 2 p.m. I'm sitting at my desk looking for some part when one of the technicians comes up to me. His name is Kenny. Now Kenny is a real nice guy. He's in his early 50s, Vietnamese, and has a great sense of humor. His English isn't great, he understands everything but never quite got the hang of putting it into words. But he does fine given a minute. The man always has a smile on his face and he's an outstanding mechanic. I'll let him work on my car and that's a real short list. Anyway, Kenny, Mr. Silicon, you need to come with me right now. He's stone-faced and he always calls me by my first name. I'm more than a little scared by how he looks. I'm thinking a vehicle has fallen off a lift or someone is seriously injured. He leads the way to the service bay. He works in the bay all the way at the end, and that's where he takes me. On his lift he has a 200 white Ford Expedition. He guides me to the front passenger wheel well. The wheel and tire have been removed and are on the floor. Then he points up to the fender. I stick my head up into the wheel well and look up towards the fender, and there it is, a large plastic and taped wrap package clearly containing a white brick. It's a very large, like 8 by 10 by 3, it's heavily taped to the inside of the fender. I look at Kenny and he looks at me. Kenny, cocaine. Sure as hell looks like it to me too. Me, what is it here for? The truck? It's a lot of work, practically all the front bushing, ball joints and outer tie rods. Vehicle is listed at 78,000 miles. Me, do you know who this belongs to? Kenny, no. Alright, just head back to the office, don't touch it. I head to the service desk and pull the repair order. It's got a local phone number and address on it. I ask the service advisor who the customer is. He points to the waiting room next door. I peek inside. Inside is an early 30s guy and his 2 kids, maybe 7 and 5. Looks nice enough, but you never know. At this point, I called the local police. I told them what we found and gave them the vehicle information and customer's name. They said stall him for as long as I can. They will be there as fast as possible. I head inside the waiting room, introduce myself to the man and tell him it looks like he might need a few more parts. I say the sway bar, bushing and links could also use replacing. He looks at me for a second, then smiles. Guy, yeah, it's okay. If it needs it, just get it done. I've got time. His kids are real nice too. They both introduce themselves to me very politely. Me, so how long have you had it? Guy, only a few weeks. I just purchased it from auction down south. Me, really? What kind of auction? Guy, government seizures, DEA I think? I got an amazing deal. The thing is beat, but I can afford to replace the parts for the price and the body and inside is great. Me, man, I've got some really bad news for you. I start to explain. Right about this time, the local police arrive. They also have the local FBI with them. They examine the vehicle and have Kenny put the wheel back on. Vehicle goes onto a flatbed and away it goes. 2 of the FBI came with me to the waiting room where this poor guy is now freaking out. Turns out it was indeed a DEA seized vehicle and they had missed the huge bag of cocaine in it. They had to seize the vehicle from him, couldn't just take the drugs out and give it back like Gonzo, and no repayment. Unknown if he would ever get it back, poor guy was devastated. Last I saw him, the FBI was giving him and his kids a ride home in their SUV. I was robbed at gunpoint last night. It was like 9:55 p.m. and the store was minutes from closing. I was stocking the bread per my manager's request. Store was empty. I don't really know why, I just suddenly started leaving the bread aisle and walking towards the front of the store, where the registers are. Looking back, I think I heard my manager say something and I figured there was a customer to ring up. Suddenly I see 3 men in hoodies, masked. One of them has a silver gun. Apparently 2 of them had guns, but I didn't see the other gun. They see me exit the bread aisle and begin shouting. I think one of them yelled, "Come on, bitch," while pointing the gun at me. There was a ton of nervousness and urgency in their voices. A lot of, "Come on, let's go." I just immediately went emotionally and physically dumb. My only thought was, this is actually happening. I kept my head forward. My manager was being roughly thrown to the ground under the registers, where the vault is. One of them rushed to me, put his hand on my shoulder and walked me to the register where my manager already was. They were there shouting at me to open the register, which I could not do without a key. They had a gun on me and were screaming at me to open it, open it. I tried, but for some reason it kept saying I was already signed in on another register, and honestly I couldn't open anything. Sales associates are useless in a robbery, FYI, future robbers. I kept my hands up but near my face. I never looked at any of them once they walked me to the register. I made no statements the entire time and never engaged any of them. Guns were pointed at me and I just couldn't believe this was happening. The focus of the robbers quickly was diverted to my manager when they realized he held the keys and was the only one who could help them. They were shouting at him, pointing guns, etc. Suddenly, the vault popped open and they took the money. But then one of the robbers was insistent on opening the register after they already hit the vault, which the other 2 were panicking about. The other 2 were waiting at the door, freaking out like, "Let's go, man," almost begging the 3rd guy. The panicky vibe made me more nervous in a way. Once they got the money, and this all took maybe 2 minutes total, I became terrified. I had this horrible preparedness to take a bullet to my head any second. I knew some robbers shoot the cashiers once they get the cash, but just like that it was over. They ran out as soon as they hit the register and vault. My manager locked the door behind them. A customer, a young woman, had walked in during the robbery and they took her purse. She was in the store with us after it happened. She was crying and very shaken. I just hugged her and didn't know what to say, but I said something about, "We're okay." This is the next morning. I don't work today. Not really sure I want to close anymore. But that's not how the other guy did it. Apparently, I've developed a reputation around here as a guy you hand a customer off to when you're sick of them. I'm comfortable with awkward situations, mostly because I get bruised and scraped around here so often the idea of being punched doesn't faze me. Plus, I really don't care what people think of me. That's less about healthy self-esteem than it is about basic contempt for all mankind. So yesterday the manager comes out back where I'm receiving in stock. "Hey, can you hook up this guy's trailer for me?" Yeah, sure. Just so you know, he was super nice until I got to the part about getting an emergency number for someone who wouldn't be with him. All of a sudden he flipped going, "Why didn't they ask me for that last week? And this is an invasion of privacy, blah 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 blah." Great, thanks for that. I'm sure this will be lovely. I walked out to find a white bearded gentleman in khaki shorts and safari hat halfway through hooking up the trailer. He was doing it wrong, but with great angry enthusiasm. Since he's clearly hot on the collar, I decide to get real cold. "Hey, those chains are on the wrong side. Let me handle it for you." I start hooking him up and as expected, he launched into a tirade. Why is it that last week they just used my office number for the emergency contact, but today the lady says it has to be for someone who isn't with me? I don't even look up. She's right, it does. But why did the young man let me? I cut him off. First of all, never ask why. People who ask why aren't looking for a solution or even to actually understand. So let's not do that. It's pointless. And second, sounds like you got one of the new guys. This is all said while I continue with my hookup. I don't look up, so I couldn't tell you how he reacted. He's quiet until I stand up. "Are we done? Can I go?" "No, I need a picture of the hookup to show I did it right, and then we need to check your lights." But the young man last week didn't do that. "Guess I was right then, new guy," I say, tapping at my phone. While we stand there in silence for a bit while I wait for the network to catch up with us, it's obviously killing him to wait, which makes me smile a bit. Finally, I'm ready to tap on his name in the list and take the picture. What name is it under?" Oh, whatever it was. It says the name on the contract. Oh, we're raising our voice now, are we? I freeze. Looked at him with raised eyebrows and quietly say, "Do I look like I'm carrying a copy of your contract?" I wait, unmoving. The tension mounts until he retreats into his truck. He's on the road about 60 seconds later, and I head in to let my manager know what happened so she can deal with the eventual customer complaint. I'll be ignoring. I think it's the heat. Yes, we do heal Pokemon here. Don't know if this truly belongs here, but I don't know where else to put it. I'm a dog groomer. Last year we had a picture of one of the former groomers standing next to a ghastly from Pokemon Go that appeared to be on a grooming table. It was hanging up with tons of other pictures of dogs. Well, one day a father and his two sons come in to pick up their dog. The dad says his youngest son has a question. The little boy was too shy to speak, so the dad asked him if we heal Pokemon and points to the picture. The dad is winking at me and the son has a Pokeball with a little Charmander plush inside. I said, "Oh yeah, just give me a few minutes and I'll get him all fixed up for you." I just took him to the back and turned on the dryer for a few seconds. All the while the batter was looking at me questioningly and I quickly explained what I was doing. She started crying. It was so sweet and innocent. I turned off the dryer and took him back out front and said, "Here you go, all healed." They said thank you and left. Just a short, sweet, wholesome story for you guys. So those were the stories for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, a like will be highly appreciated. It really does help my channel out. Also, if you enjoyed this and want to stay up to date on the latest videos, then don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for listening and I will see you in the next video.